All right, so Paul Lauzon is here to shine some light on the latest controversy as far as judging going has gone, and the most recent Arnold Classic. But before that, how's everything going, Paul?
Everything's good, John. Yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I made sure to wear your shirt, the hostile shirt.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Actually, I got one on my. I just finished training with Fuad. We just finished shoulders.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, at the new gym.
Are you a partner in hostel or?
No, what I'm hoping for is when Canadian distribution eventually gets started, I'll have a role there. I'm hoping in the future, but
Oh, good.
right now, no. But me and Fuad, we do have a plan to start a gym, another gym.
Oh,
Like that's a
nice.
private. That's sort of like a supplement company's gym for photo
Yeah,
shoots and
yeah, yeah,
whatnot,
yeah.
and for us to use, which is nice. But
Okay,
we
cool.
want to start another gym, a commercial gym, sometime in the next year or so. Depending on how COVID plays out this fall and winter.
Oh, very cool. Okay. How
Yeah.
many athletes do you guys have going in to the Olympia? I know you got Nathan Diaz here, but who else besides that?
Well, Nathan's not doing the Olympia because Nathan
Oh, I
some
thought
travel
he.
issues. So Nathan's doing the Arnold UK this weekend,
Oh,
and so is
okay.
Samson.
Yeah, Samson, I know. Do you guys have any athletes in the Olympia this year?
Um, no, yeah, because Nathan was supposed to be, and
Right.
then ran into those travel issues.
I know. I hope by next
So
year
no,
it's all resolved. I mean, this travel thing sucks, man.
it does, yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
And are you guys going to be able to be there or no?
Actually, I'm not really sure yet. I doubt it though. Actually, I'm sorry, that's in not this weekend, the following weekend, correct?
Yeah,
Over
that's
the,
a week from today.
I'll be in Vancouver.
Oh, okay,
I got
okay.
a show up there. I'm doing
Oh, all right. Because I'll
two
be
shows
there.
actually.
I made
Are
it
you?
I made it a vacation. So Friday we're gonna go to the expo, and I'm gonna see if I can get like somebody like a big interview, like a former Mr. Olympia, and then
Yeah,
we're going to Universal and Epcot. Me and the wife for a few days.
yeah. Oh, that's cool. Awesome.
Yeah. All
Is
right.
there any restrictions
Good.
on capacity at the Olympia?
I don't know. I already
It's
bought
in
my
Florida, right?
I already bought my tickets, so I know they're all sold out. So,
Yeah,
but I have no idea as far as the capacity. But I jumped on it as soon as it was announced because I knew I wanted to go. You
yeah.
know.
Is this your first one?
No, this will be my third. I went to
Oh,
one in 2000. 2000 was my first one, and then I went in 2016, and
okay,
this will be my third one. Yeah.
okay.
All right, so let's jump into the most controversial topic so far in bodybuilding this week. But Nick Walker obviously won, and deservedly so. And if
Hmm.
he didn't win, this topic would probably be a lot more spoken about. But the big
Yeah,
news was that Nick just came in and just wrecked everybody.
yeah.
But before we get to the controversy, what do you think of Nick winning?
Oh man, I Nick Nick impresses me so much in that he's like when he turned pro, he was already like he was going to be a good pro already, but the improvements that he's made in such a short time, and like he's very targeted with his approach, and he's got a great team behind him, but
Mm-hmm.
he's very targeted with his approach. He knows where his improvements need to be made,
Mm-hmm.
and he's all in and dedicated to making those improvements. And I'm just blown away by Nick's progress. I remember like when he first turned pro, you could have considered him bottom heavy. Now that's not the case. His
Yeah,
upper body is just as big as his lower body now, if
yeah,
not maybe
yeah.
bigger. So I don't know. I'm just very impressed with Nick.
Yeah, when he came out from the Arnold, I had the immediate reaction I had when Phil used to win all the Olympias. Like that's it. It's between now
Yep.
we got to figure out who comes in second to 10th. That's it.
Yeah,
It's a wrap.
it's
And
a
that
competition for second. Yeah.
yeah, that's as soon as I saw him, I went that's it. It's over. Um,
Yeah.
so the first part of the controversy was that Nick and Steve had uh, posed down for 20 minutes or a little bit more in the prejudging, and it looked like to everybody that was going to be first and second, first and second, first and second.
Mhm.
And as far as I could remember, this was the first time that has happened. And then somebody got knocked out of second place, and then
Mhm.
Ian Valier jumped into second, and he dropped to third.
Yes.
Um, Ian gets way too much hate to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah. He
Right,
does.
he gets way too much hate to begin with, and then
Yeah.
now this, and then now this, and of course he's going through some issues with the wife and the arrest and so on and so forth. But so as a pro judge, can you explain that? Was there reasoning behind that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the difference between amateurs and pros is in pros you're judged in prejudge and finals. In amateur, we only judge prejudge. Finals only determining overalls.
Hmm.
So a guy has a chance to make up ground if he comes back looking better at the finals.
Hmm.
We call it the finals. So yeah, the second part of the show, whatever you want to call it, the
Right.
second day or that night. And if one guy comes in a bit off, one guy comes in a bit better, you can absolutely make up ground. So yeah, it's happens all the time. I just think people have their opinions. People, some people believe that Steve should have won. Some people believe that Ian should have won,
Hmm.
and because it was so close, it's going to leave the door open to to debate.
So from your honest opinion, and I have untrained eyes, right? So
Hmm.
that's why I wanted you on.
Hmm.
From your honest opinion, did it look like Steve slipped a little bit, or Ian improved that much where they should have made the change?
Well, one thing I got to preface this with is I didn't watch the show. I was
Okay.
judging a show in Saskatchewan last weekend, so
Okay.
all I saw was pictures.
Okay.
We did do a commentary, Fuad and I, and Roman. We did a commentary during some of the show.
Okay.
But like watching it on video and being there in person are two different things completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell people that all the time.
Hmm.
Camera angles, lighting, whatnot. It's just not the same.
Right.
Steve's a big dude. Obviously, he's super impressive.
Yeah.
Ian was better in some areas. Steve was better than other in some
Hmm.
areas. And
Hmm.
at the end of the day, the judges determined that they felt Ian outscored him, slightly. And so without being there, it's very difficult to say,
Hmm.
who should have won. But from the we comment we Fuad and I and Roman we commentated on the second part of the show, so I
Hmm.
didn't see the prejudge part.
Okay.
And it did look to me in that part that Ian was harder, at least in some areas at the back, other
Okay.
areas. But I didn't see the first day to see how much better Steve may or may not have been.
Right. Right. Right.
But I imagine it was still very close.
Yeah.
They have very different physiques.
Yeah, they do. To see again, and this is why I want your opinion. I have an untrained eye. I'm just a fan. I'm just a YouTuber. To me, when Ian comes out, this is how I view every time I see Ian when he comes out. He doesn't have that wow factor like a Nick or a Steve. But then what happens is, as far as I'm concerned, this is just my opinion. What happens is when he starts posing and when you start comparing him to poses, he kind of he kind of he
Mm-hmm.
scratches and claws by. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
you go, wait a minute. He looks better in that pose. He
Mm-hmm.
looks better in that pose. He looks better in that
Mm-hmm.
pose. Oh shit, he might actually fucking take it.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't have. It doesn't like, for example, when he does his like your side tricep or something like that, his waist disappears.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whereas I mean, this is only my opinion. This is why I want your opinion. That to me, that's how he seems to scrape by and win his shows, and then people go, "Oh, he shouldn't have won." Compared to like a Nick or a Justin Rodriguez or Steve
Mm-hmm.
Kuclo, who have that, they come out and they have that wow factor,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Right.
oh shit, you see Justin, he's this with his shoulders and
Right.
right. But then when you compare them, when they start comparing the actual posing, it seems like that's when Ian claws by.
Right. Because Ian doesn't have any weaknesses. Not to say that those other guys do by any
Right.
means. But Ian, he may not have that one standout body part.
Mm-hmm.
Like Justin's pretty wide. That's sort of his thing. Like he's
Right.
wide. He's got a super wide back. Nick is just so fucking thick and muscular. That's kind of his thing and conditioned. And Steve's a big dude, massive
Yeah.
dude, and he's so wide too. So that's kind of their thing. But Ian doesn't have his one thing. He's just really good at everything. And when Ian poses, things come alive. Like when Ian's standing there, he may not look, have that wow factor that you talked about with some of the other
Mm-hmm.
guys. But when he hits his poses and the transitions in between the poses, then you see how good he really is. And yeah, and I also like Ian's got that kind of skin tone where in a lot of pictures and video, his hardness doesn't always show through in some videos and pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see him in person, and also when you see certain lighting, you see how freaking hard he gets. Like he's just as hard as the other guys, if not harder.
Right.
It doesn't always show with his skin tone for some reason with
Okay.
certain lighting.
Because in the Olympia last year, when he came in seventh, I don't know if it was the lighting or not. it might have been, where he stood out tremendously in that show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you could clearly see he deserved that placing. Like that was the first time I saw him come out, and I was like, oh, okay, there's the Ian that we want to see, right?
Right.
I don't know if it was, like you said, they might have had better lighting at the Olympia, or, you know, it could be. I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility? Or
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. 100% it can be.
Okay.
That's why I always say, like, unless you're there in person, you can't have a full perspective unless you're there in person. It's just so much different, you know, and especially from the judges' standpoint, being right there in front of the stage, your standpoint's even different than the people who are sitting, you know, several rows back or whatever. So, you know, I know people have it's a sport based on opinion, right? There's no like, you know, who scores the most points in a game kind of thing. It's based on subjective opinions. So you're always going to have that controversy. But at the end of the day, you know, people have their opinions, but I feel like for the most part, judges get things right. I think, you know, at that level, especially.
I think I agree. I agree for the most part, and they've had a good run too. Like, so what I mean by that is like you haven't seen like a big controversial loss like a Victor Martinez and a Jay Cutler. Or a Dorian and a Nasser in a very long time. We've had, you know, how many different Olympians? We had Phil, then it went to Sean Roden, then it went to Brandon, then it went to and this is the first time something like that happened since the early 80s, just since before Lee Haney. So I feel like, I don't know if it's the social media pressure, or I don't know if because Joe Weider's not there anymore. I don't know. But it seems like recently they've been getting it right.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
And when this Arnold Classic came out, I was like, to me, especially when we get to the Sergio part of it, it was like a punch in the gut, because it's like, oh, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this, you know?
Yeah. I like to compare it to, remember like boxing sort of, that happened with boxing years ago?
Exactly. I said the same thing.
Yeah, it ruins a sport. If you lose your credibility,
nobody wants to watch.
Done.
Yeah.
You're done. You know, if people think that things are predetermined, you're done as a sport. You know, who's going to watch that? And
nobody does watch it anymore.
Right. And I think for a little while there, bodybuilding was starting to, you know, get close to that line. Like it just became where you had to knock the champion out instead of beat the champion.
Right.
I don't agree with that. I think most people don't agree with that, you know, and, you know, and I think that was starting to happen a little bit, you know, to the Olympia level. And I think, but I do think that, you know, the powers that be, whatever, who was at the time, I feel like it was right around that time of the Jay Victor controversy that things started to change. It was like, you know, we better, you know, get our shit together. Otherwise, we're going to start to lose some fans.
The rumor from when Dorian won against Nasser, I mean, the rumor was that there was no social media back then. So I don't, again, I don't know. This is just rumors I've heard and things I've read online and so on and so forth. The rumor was Joe Weider was making so much money overseas with Dorian, he didn't want to give it to an American guy like a flex. And Nasser was not the most likable guy in the world.
Yeah, and there used to be this this sort of belief too that, you know, you had to have a certain look to be Mr. Olympia. You know, like you know, and you know, that seemed to be the, you know, the thought at the time. Whether it was true or not, I don't know. You know, again, I'm just like you. I was just hearing the rumors, that I was not the inside knowing any of this stuff. You know, but there seemed to be a little bit of a lot more controversy with placings in those days. And,
definitely.
You know, I'm glad that it's gotten cleaned up, because, like you said, like there's been like every year there's been a new Mr. Olympia. When's the last time someone repeated now?
Yeah, right. But it's been deserved. Yeah, Phil was the last guy, but it's been deserved. You know, it's been deserved.
And the Arnold's was always that way, I think.
Yes,
you know, for the most
definitely.
Part. You know, Arnold's was always deserved, and went to the guy who was the best that day.
Right.
And that's the way it should be. And the Olympia was treated a little differently, and I think they fixed that problem, I feel.
Yeah, 100%. Now, the bigger controversy is, from my understanding, in 2014, Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted the posing round counted, and I think they changed it to 30%.
Yeah. Is that what it is? I wasn't sure how much it made up.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 30%, and that was changed in 2014, and that was the year Kai beat Cedric.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Because they had Cedric had, and Cedric is a great poser to begin with.
Yeah.
But Kai is probably one of the greatest that ever lived, right?
Yeah.
And that's when Kai, and he beat him, and he won that on that Arnold specifically for the posing round.
Mm-hmm.
So then Sergio comes out and he does this amazing posing routine, this elaborate, fantastic posing routine, and he wins best poser.
Mm-hmm.
He wins the 10 grand as best poser. But on the scoring cards, he comes in 6th in the posing round.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what, in the posing round? He came in 6th?
Yeah.
But he didn't get the highest score?
No, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and
So
look.
they may not have been judging just on routine, though.
No, from what I understand, I have to go back and they talked about it on RX Muscle because Dave had Sergio on.
Okay.
And Dave had Sergio on, and then Dave covered it twice. Once with Sergio, and then once with all of his friends. Like he's had John Romano, Chris Aceto, so on and so on. And of course, Chris Aceto trains Sergio, so he was hot. He was pissed.
Yeah.
And then of course, then he comes in 6th, in overall. So I just don't understand. If you win the posing round, it seems to me that you should automatically win the posing.
Yeah, which the only thing I was thinking was I didn't see Sergio's routine. I read about it. I watched a clip of it, but it wasn't only part of it. But I know Sergio's a beautiful poser. It may not have been judged just on his routine though, that score. It may have been judged on how the judges felt he was hitting his mandatory poses as well. So if he was having trouble controlling his midsection during some of those poses, he may have been docked for that.
Oh, which he actually claimed he did.
He had trouble controlling his midsection.
Yes, he claimed he did.
When I saw him on the second day, part that that Fouad and I and Roman were doing, he did look like he was distended in the midsection. Like maybe he carved up a little too heavy for the second day.
Yeah.
So that could be your answer right there. It may have been they felt he wasn't controlling his midsection.
Okay.
And maybe there was other issues too. They felt like sometimes you'll see a guy hit a back lat spread, he doesn't open up all the way. It happens once in a while. Whatever. I'm just sort of speculating on what else it could have been. But I imagine that was probably one issue because stomach control is one of the biggest things with posing. If you're transitioning and your stomach's hanging out a little bit, you will get docked for that.
That could very well be. I did not know that. That's a very good possibility because he even admitted that he did have problems controlling his stomach.
I have to assume that was one of the issues then.
He said he was trying to pull a vacuum in the whole time, and the best he could do was just look relaxed.
Really? Was he having some kind of digestion issues?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. I explained it. Yeah.
Absolutely. He came in huge, though. This was the biggest Sergio. He said that he was 286 on stage.
What was he last time he competed?
I'm not 100% sure, but when you think of Kuklo, when you think of Ian, you think of these huge bodybuilders. When Sergio won the New York Pro and then he went on to do the Chicago Pro, it was more of this classical kind of look. And then all of a sudden this year, if he came in just a little sharper, he probably would have. It probably would have been sitting next to Nick.
And is Sergio got any other shows on the radar right now?
He's doing the Legion after the Olympia.
I'll bet you he'll be a lot better there. It may have been just a case where he's got a lot going on in his life too, Sergio. He's got that something company that he started. He's got a clothing company. He's got a lot going on in his life. Yeah. And I know this is his first show in 2 years, I believe. I don't think he competed.
No, he did the Arnold last year. He came in fifth in the Arnold. He came in fifth in the Arnold last year.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So it's been a year for him.
That Arnold was held in March, though.
That's right. Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's been about a year and a half.
So it seems like 5 years. Yeah, right.
It does. Yeah. I don't know. COVID got me. I don't know. My timeline's messed up. But
no, absolutely.
I'll bet he comes in much better for the next show.
I think so too. Because what he said he did wrong was that he put on so much weight. He had put on so much muscle in this off season that when he dieted down with Chris Aceto as if it was his previous physique. And he didn't look as sharp. And now, according to him, now they kind of have the formula.
They got it figured out.
Yeah, they kind of.
Chris is a great coach, and
he's one of the best ever.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get it figured out.
That show should be pretty good because I think Cedric is doing it, and I think Sergio's doing it. It should be a pretty good lineup because that qualifies.
Where is that show?
Oh God, hold on.
Is it in the U.S.?
Yes, it is in Reno.
Oh, Nevada.
Reno, yes, yeah. And I think that qualifies for the Olympia next year.
Oh, okay. And then there's also the Toronto Pro coming up in December, and I'm supposed to be judging.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any other pro shows after the Olympia other than those two. I imagine there is, but I just can't think of which ones.
I don't know, but I hope that it goes back to normal. I hope the Arnold is back in March next year. I hope things go back.
I hope everything goes back. I hope everything goes back to normal.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
So here's another question. If there's so much controversy, and with social media, it's so easy between YouTube and podcasting, Patreon, and so on and so forth, why wouldn't like the head judge, after being blasted all over social media, why wouldn't the head judge come on a show like, all right, mine's too small, but like Fuad Show or RX Muscle and say, here's what we thought and here's where you think the controversy is, but let me explain.
Well, they have like Bob's got a show now, Ciccarello, and Dennis has a show. I'm not a regular watcher of their shows. Have they not have them on?
No, I don't think so, because I'm like, I haven't watched it. You might be right, but if I haven't heard anything of it.
No, I don't.
And I'm on top of it constantly because of my podcast,
Right, yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen Steve on a podcast before, Weinberger.
The only one I've seen him on RX Muscle, because him and Dave have been friends for like forever.
New York, eh?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Dave hasn't had him on. Maybe he just doesn't like doing podcasts or something. I don't know.
But was Steve the head judge there?
I believe so. He normally is.
You know what? He's kind of has that rough personality where he probably like, I don't have to explain myself.
Yeah, you're probably right.
He's got that.
Like, I've been around 50 years judging shows. I don't have to explain to you guys what I'm seeing.
Well, I mean, in his defense, he normally gets it right.
Yeah,
I mean, 99% of the time, anytime you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
I don't know if he still does, but he used to judge NPC shows as well as pro shows.
Yeah.
So back in 2012, I did two shows, right? And they were both in New Jersey, and they were a week apart. And I came in second in the open light heavyweights. Mm-hmm. And the guy that beat me, everybody was telling me, "Oh, you should have beat him. You should have beat him. You should have beat him." So on and so forth. And I was like kind of like 50-50. Maybe I should.
Okay.
A week later, I came in second, and the guy that beat me was in fourth. And Steve was judging that show, but he wasn't judging the show the week prior.
Oh, okay.
So, there might have been something to that. It might have been random.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, I've judged with Steve once. When I got my pro card for judging 2 years ago, he was the head judge of the show that I test judged. And, I only had an opportunity to introduce myself to him. I didn't really get a chance to interchange. With him very much. But Steve's got that aura, he's probably him and Tyler and Gary are probably the three most respected head judges, and Sandy, in the league. And Steve's, he's got respect from everybody. Like he's been done it all, seen it all, and so maybe he just feels like he doesn't need to explain himself.
He probably
if anyone doesn't,
it's him. Yeah. He also has that type A personality where it's like, tough shit. That's the core.
For sure. Yeah, he reminds me of, I don't know if you know who Rudy Jambrosic is. No. He's like our head judge in Canada. He's sort of like the Canadian Steve. And Rudy's very similar personality, and Rudy was like my mentor coming up.
Well, I guess you kind of have to be like that in a way, right? I mean, you can't have a wishy-washy kind of, right? To be a head judge.
For sure. You got to be confident in yourself and know your decisions are right.
Because then you're easily swayed by the other judges or someone. You know what I mean?
But that's good. You should have a good team around you, especially for top shows. Because we're all just human. We can all make mistakes. We can all have an off day, whatever. So it's important to have a solid team around you to to help you out a little bit.
What do you think was the most controversial call that you could remember? Not necessarily a show that you saw, not you judged, but a show that you remember.
I would probably say there was a show a few years ago, a 212 show. May have been 202 at the time. I don't remember for sure, but it was the lighter weight division anyway. Ahmad Ashknani. I'm not sure if I pronounced his
Yeah,
last name
Ahmad Ashkenaz.
correctly.
Yeah,
From Kuwait there.
yeah.
He won a show that a lot of people felt like
The New York
he shouldn't
Pro.
have. Was that the New York?
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And, I saw some pictures from that show. He did look to be off to me.
Yeah,
But again,
yeah,
I wasn't there. Maybe he
yeah.
was just so big and overpowering that,
No,
his,
I
he went
remember
for it.
he did not have separation in his legs, and I think what's his name was the guy who came in
Who was
second.
second again?
Oh, God. Oh, was he Brazilian guy or oh God? Like he was really good. Oh
He was
God,
shredded. He
yes,
came in sharp.
chiseled, and he had an injury. And let me see if I could find it.
Yeah.
He had an injury, and he didn't come back for a while because of that injury. I don't remember what the injury was. And what year was that? Do you think?
I want to say maybe 2017, 2018.
Let's see, 2018, New York Pro 212 results. No, let me see, 2016 or 2018. I'm not 100%. It's gonna kill me that I can't remember this guy's name.
I know.
It's good, and I remember this like it was. Yeah, it might have been. Let's see.
I don't feel like it was that long ago, but
No, then again, the years go by so fast.
Yeah. Oh, was it? Oh shit! I just had it. He is Brazilian.
He's Brazilian, right?
Yeah.
I can't.
He gets shredded all the time.
Yeah.
This guy.
I can't remember his name for the life of me.
I always confuse him with Gustavo Bedell. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it now. I can't remember.
He doesn't have the prettiest shape, this guy, but he gets shredded.
Yes. No, it definitely wasn't. No, I don't know. I can't find it. Well, I'll wind up thinking about it tonight, and then I'll wind up messaging you in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Oh, Eduardo. Something or other. Oh God!
What the hell is it?
Oh yeah, Carrero. Yeah, that's it. Eduardo Carrero. Yes.
There you go.
Everybody thought he should have won, and he was chiseled to the bone.
Yeah.
And
not the prettiest shape.
No,
but
he was
shredded.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that yeah. I mean, the most obviously, but this is more classic. When Schwarzenegger won in 1980, that was really controversial.
Oh.
That was
yeah.
I think Mike Menzer retired after that. He said the whole thing.
Yeah.
Forget it. We're done.
And didn't he trash it backstage or something?
Oh, the rumor is like he almost beat the shit out of him. Like the guys had to get in between them. Yeah, it was bad. Mike Menzer was a legitimate tough guy. He didn't want to mess with him.
Yeah.
You didn't want
his brother.
Yeah, that's right. You didn't want to mess with him. And the following year, when Franco won, when he had an injury when a strongman, he had no separation in his legs, and he had bad gyno. And it really looked like they just kind of gave it to him,
Yeah,
it's been around.
Yeah.
But I'm glad things have cleaned up, and I hope it doesn't get bad again. I really hope that it stays the way, because the boxing analogy is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. I can't tell you how many times I sat there watching a fight, and I'm like, how did they give it to this guy?
Yeah, it used to happen a lot.
And then now nobody watches boxing at all anymore, unless it's one of those sideshow, Paul, whatever the frig his name is.
All these celebrity fights.
Yeah.
And there's no big name fighter right now like a Tyson to draw.
No, not at all. And there's some talent in the lighter divisions. They just don't get the marketing because nobody's watching it. Nobody wants to put the money into it. Nobody cares about changing it. So it is. And I don't want that to happen to bodybuilding. It's heading in the right direction, and there's a lot of young talent coming up, like a tremendous amount of young talent, especially in the open. Like like the what was it, Brett Wilkins, the guy who came in second in Chicago, and there was a guy in Puerto Rico. I forgot his name. That was really, really impressive. Well, it wasn't Puerto Rico, but it was it was in the Bahamas, right? It was the Puerto Rico pro.
Oh, Stan Klahar?
Is that? Yes, I think. Is that who it was?
Older gentleman, just did well a couple shows recently.
No, the black guy. No, this is a new guy coming up.
Okay. I'm not sure right now, but there's definitely some young talent coming up for the first time in a while.
Yes, yeah. All of a sudden, so why do you think that is? And why do you think there's so much of especially in the open, there's an explosion of talent?
Yeah. I'm not really sure why. It's great to see as a,
Yeah.
as a bodybuilding fan myself. It's great to see because for a while there wasn't any fresh. I mean, there was some for sure, but like Nick, like look at when's the last time a rookie pro made this kind of an impact?
No, I think I
I
won't.
Flex Wheeler. I don't know. Like
Dorian.
it's been
Yeah. Right. No.
probably 30 years
Yeah.
since a
No.
guy in his rookie year did made this much noise.
Yeah. No. I
And
don't. I don't remember honestly.
yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
I would
No.
think it's got to go back to the 90s to remember the
Yeah.
last
I
one.
don't. I know Dorian won. Came in second in. It wasn't the New York Pro at the time. It was another. It
Night of Champions.
was the Night of Champions, and he came in
Momo
second.
Benaziza.
That's right.
That's the last guy to beat Dorian Yates.
Yeah, and then he came in second in the Olympia that year too.
Lee Haney, yeah.
And then that's when Lee Haney saw the writing on the wall and he goes, "I'm done."
Yeah. I'm sorry, I misspoke there. Momo wasn't the last guy he lost to, but it was the last show other than the Olympia.
Other than the Olympia.
One of two guys that ever beat Dorian on a pro stage.
But as far as winning two shows of that caliber back to back, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I'm blown away.
And he's only 26 years old.
I knew Nick was going to be good, but I didn't think he'd be this good this fast.
No, I didn't think he would be this good this fast either.
No,
I kept saying, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, but no, 6 months, and it was like a different guy.
Right. And the thing about him is like he's dedicated his life to being the best bodybuilder ever, and he's determined to make that happen.
Yeah.
And he's all in. Like Nick is like in bed by like 10 o'clock every night. He lives a life to a T. He eats, lives, and breathes bodybuilding.
And he's a likable guy. When he's on the show with you guys, he's hilarious. He just has that way about him where he's just so naturally funny, and the comments and the faces, and he's hysterical. So people love him.
He's got that innocence to him still.
Yes. Yeah.
It's genuine. It's not fake.
He kind of has that thing that Luke had where he could talk trash, but you don't care.
Yeah.
Because you like him so much.
Yeah.
Like he talks he says so much shit about girls. If it was anybody else, he would have got got canceled. But people let him go.
Because it's like you could tell. It's like he doesn't mean any harm.
Yeah,
he's just having fun.
He has that quality to him. So I hope one day he does win. How do you think he's going to do in the Olympia this year?
I think he'll be top 5.
Yeah,
I think he'll be. I got him. He could be as high as second.
Yeah.
I personally feel like he'll settle in around the 3-4 spot.
Yeah, I think so.
Because apparently Bonak's going to be there now, from what I've been hearing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think he can beat Big Ramy yet. Hottie's amazing too, and that's going to be a cool comparison though, Nick and Hottie.
That is because they have similar physiques. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bonak too.
Yes.
Those three.
Yeah.
Those three are going to be a crazy comparison.
Yeah.
So that's where I think he's going to land, somewhere in that 3-4 spot.
And what about Brandon?
Brandon, I don't know. Unless Brandon's brought up those legs a lot, I think he's going to be giving up too much of the lower body to these other guys. These other guys are great lower bodies. All 3 of those guys, all 4 of those guys. Yeah. And I don't think you can give up that much to those other 4.
And Nick throws a wrench in the whole thing.
He does.
Last year, Brandon came in second, and without Nick, you could say, it's going to be the same thing. Only fill out, and but he throws a monkey wrench into the whole thing. You go, what the hell? He could easily come in second, and beat because I could see him beating Brandon.
I can too.
But then again, you don't know how good Heidi's going to come in, so we'll see.
And you don't know how good Brandon's going to come in. I mean, Brandon, I don't want to take anything away from him. Like he's a great bodybuilder. He just has a little bit in the legs. It's just a little bit, I'd just like to see more mass there. Yeah. And if he did, maybe he's done that this year. I don't know, but he's got beautiful shape.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I love the Olympia, man. I love great bodybuilding shows.
Oh, me too. I've been a bodybuilding fan since I'm 14 years old, and there's not too many of us. It seems because of social media, it seems like there's a lot, but I'm in the gym, and it seems to me that the gym, bodybuilding, working out is one of the only hobbies that people are so into, but they can't tell you who the top names are. They can't tell you who the top players are. So many guys in the gym that are into the gym and into working out and the diets, and they couldn't tell you. They did not watch the all. And I said that to a friend of mine, and you realize that if we were playing like a men's softball tournament, you know, we would know all the baseball players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If we played, you know, a men's football team, right? We know
Yeah.
we would know all about the NFL.
Yeah. Or
Just
even like
go down the line.
Even the
BMX.
smaller sports.
And
even the smaller sports, like, you know, whatever, like, you
cross,
know, wrestling, you know,
yeah, absolutely.
you know who all the greatest are, you know, and who's good at the time.
Yeah, if you're a motocross dude, you know who the top motocross guys are. And when we're working out, no clue.
I wonder if it's because there's such a wide range when it comes to working out. There's such a wide range of, you know, like, I guess the interest in doing it, you know, is such a wide range. You have people who want to be hardcore bodybuilders, people who just want to be healthy, people who just want to, you know, have decent biceps so they can go to a bar, you know, and have people around. There's so many different.
And then there's also the younger generation that follows the wrong people. And what I mean by that is they follow the social media sensations that never stepped on stage before. You know, and it's like, how do you? I don't know. To me, that doesn't make any sense. You know,
for sure.
One last thing, and I'll let you go. Just to sum it up. I mean, last time I went to the Olympia, there was a social media sensation. I won't mention any names, and it was an hour to meet him. And Jose Raymond, I interviewed Jose Raymond, and I spoke to him about it, and I wanted to meet Jose Raymond, and there was no wait. He was by his booth like this. You know, and I just said, Jose, can I get a picture? He's like, yeah, sure. You know, he's one of the greatest 212 bodybuilders that ever lived.
Yeah.
But some guy that just has, you know, 1 million followers on YouTube or something, it's like, wow. It just blows me away, you know?
Like my kids, man, they could tell you who the biggest YouTube stars are right now.
Yeah, I have no
but
idea.
They couldn't tell you who the biggest actors are.
Yeah.
It's a change, man. I don't know
big time change, you know?
It is.
Sir, I'm going to let you go. I've taken up enough of your time, and I appreciate you coming on again.
My pleasure.
And hopefully, you know, are you guys having a booth in the Olympia at all, or no booth?
I'm going to be in Vancouver.
No, I know you are, but will you have anybody else there?
Fua's not going to go this year, I don't believe.
So it won't be
maybe next year, like when things are back to normal. Hopefully, you know, there's all that issue with vaccines and stuff right now, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, right now probably not, but next year, hopefully, you know.
All right, great. So then we will keep in touch. And
have a good time.
I'm sure the next controversy, thank you very much. I'm sure the next controversy, I'm going to ask you to come back on and explain it again.
Anytime, John.
Paul, have a good night, man.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.